What's going on, everyone? It's Jack from WhatCulture.com, back again with Ross's Scepter, and it's time for all the ups and downs from this week's Smack. He just left it in the studio. Get on up, watch those downs, baby. No, look at the downs. I know. First, we start with the down because Daniel Bryan came to the ring and introduced all 6 women that will be competing for the SmackDown Women's Championship at Backlash. Now, this segment was one of those ones where there are too many people involved. Whether it's for the women's title, the men's title, the universal title, whichever title it's for, if there are too many people in one segment, no one really gets a chance to shine, especially if it's booked like this one was. Everyone sort of came across as a bit of a whiner. Even, Becky Lynch, who's meant to get sympathy from the crowd, every single other person in the ring pretty much called her a whiner. The only one that really stood out for me was Alexa Bliss. She is a very petty character anyway, so it was sort of the situation where she could thrive, but otherwise, it was one of those ones where no one really gets any advantage on anyone else, so I'm starting off with a down, I'm afraid. Next up, we had The Miz v Apollo Crews in a match that just seems tailor-made for a down, but I'm actually giving it an up because of the excellent heel work by The Miz. He won the match despite interference on guest commentary from Dolph Ziggler, and it was always nice to see the guy who's distracted during one of those guest commentary segments still come out with the win. It made Miz look like an incredibly strong champion. It made Crews look weak, but he needs a reboot anyway. And then after the match, Ziggler ended up with the Intercontinental title, laid it on the floor and said, come and get it if you want it. And Miz sent Maurice in the ring to get it. That was brilliant heel work, really dastardly. And of course, he stood there with like such a smug grin on his face. It was really good stuff from The Miz. His run of form continues. That's an up for me. Next up, Heath Slater. Of course, you know already that's an up because Heath Slater, after talking about his kids for so long, actually brought his kids to the ring. There were about 9 of them. They were of all heights and ages. One of them was in dungarees. One of them just went like, hey, what's going on? I'm really sorry to any Southern Americans watch. It's perfect for Heath. He's pretty much a fully fledged babyface by now. Rhino made things even funnier by just standing miserably at the side during the whole thing. I'll get back to Heath and Rhino later on in the show, but this was definitely an up. Now it's time to go back to the women, and could they save the opening segment with a really good match? No, they couldn't. And again, it's not all their fault. They were thrown into a 3-on-3 tag match. It wasn't really the sort of match where anyone could get over. In the end, Carmella got the submission victory over Nikki Bella, which kind of works. Carmella's really run out of steam since, splitting from Enzo and Cass and going out on her own. But again, it was one of those matches where it was kind of piecemeal and sloppy a little bit, and really hasn't got me looking forward to the women's match at Backlash, which is a massive shame. It is a massive shame. But you've got to be honest, and I'm giving it a down. Next, American Alpha beat the Usos in seconds, in about 30 seconds. Now, this might seem like a down, it might seem like a cop-out, but then after the match, the Usos turned properly heel and decimated Chad Gable's leg. Try and imagine exactly how the Usos would do in someone's leg, and that's pretty much what happened. There was a lot of jumping and like placed kicks and a lot of like woo-woos and all that, but now they're heels, so they do exactly the same stuff, but it's outside of match time. It was really good. This is obviously an excuse to get American Alpha out of the competition because, let's be honest, Heath Slater really needs to win, or at least lose to some heels who are going to get a lot of heat for ending the Slater dream. Segment was really good. The match was short, but the booking was excellent, and for that reason, that gets an up as well. Next, we saw Fandango in the ring with some random woman. I have no idea who she was. She looked like if you turned Sam Driver into a girl. Go and watch it, that's true. She did look like that. She had tattoos and dark hair. Fandango encouraged her to dance, and she danced. And then Fandango was like, ooh, you're not very good at dancing, I'm much better. And then Kane came out of the ring and chokeslammed him. And then Kane danced. Obviously this is a down. What were you thinking? One thing I will say is that Breezango, I really like as a heel tag team. Just let them be heels. Let them be old school vain heels with their selfie sticks and their preening. Let that happen. Don't be putting Fandango in a feud with Kane. Oh, I really hope this isn't an ongoing thing. I really hope it's not. Now you have Heath Slater and Rhino v the Hype Bros. Woo, woo, woo. And whatever Mojo Rawley does, which is try really hard and get my sympathies, but get no reaction from anyone else, you heartless pack of pricks. The right team won. Heath Slater and Rhino won. Rhino, of course, got the hot tag and just decimated the other team. Hit the gore, 1, 2, 3. They go on to the finals. It's not confirmed yet who their opponent's going to be because American Alpha's dropped out, but it will be one of the Usos and the Hype Bros. and you know, the Usos are pretty much going to win that, you'd imagine. And then whichever team wins, you've either got the rub for Heath and Rhino winning the tournament, or you've got the Usos as major dream-killing heels. Again, no complaints with this. It's absolutely an up. And finally, and this one's, you know, a down for two reasons. First of all, there was no big match to close SmackDown. We just saw an elongated segment between AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose. Now, that could have been good because both guys have been really nailing their promos over the past few months. However, Dean Ambrose looks to be back in wacky babyface mode, which is never good. Like, he was pretty much full-on Cena. Although, it's unfair saying that because Cena really took AJ seriously during their program last month, and now Dean's just not taking AJ seriously at all. He presented him with a bowling trophy, for example, and said, look, you're always going to be a runner-up and all. And then AJ kicked him in the balls and I was happy for a bit, but the segment really wasn't what it could have been. They need to stop building main event feuds around genitalia. They really do need to do that. Disappointing. It's a down. So that's all the time we've had this week on Ups and Downs for SmackDown. I've been Jack from WhatCulture.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Jack_the_jobber. Don't act like you're not impressed. Thanks for watching. It's been a draw, 4-4. Neither team wins this week. I'll see you soon.
Titan Screwed is the final book in the Titan trilogy, acclaimed for providing fans with rare backstage and insider stories from mid-90s WWE, a time of turbulence, wrestlers infighting, and ultimately betrayal. Written by James Dixon and Justin Henry, Titan Screwed covers 1997, featuring in-depth stories about Steve Austin nearly paralyzing himself at SummerSlam, WWF forming a brief partnership with ECW, and of course, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and the Montreal Screwjob, which has never received better coverage than in this book. As with all merch, Titan Screwed can be picked up at shop.whatculture.com.